Welcome to the Digital Junior Solar Sprint live stream. It is a beautiful sunny day out here, so it is a perfect day to talk about solar power and solar energy. Good to have you with us. My name is Claire LeBeau, and I'm the Director of Communications at NASEF, the North America Scholastic Esports Federation. And I think we'll do a little round robin and introduce ourselves, and then we'll get right into the content. So Brian, why don't you go?
Hey, I'm Brian, also known as CleverLike, and I run CleverLike Studios. We are the creators of fun, entertaining, competitive, educational content inside of video games, and we're the creators of this digital junior solar sprint world in Minecraft.
Awesome. And Eric?
Yep, I'm Eric, also known as Eric.
So creative.
Had to go there.
Eric, your humor is always great.
That was pretty clever.
That works. There we go. I am a STEM and computer science instructional facilitator for Broward County Public Schools and a global Minecraft mentor with Minecraft Education. And Gerald.
And every once in a while, you have a little guest that will run across your keyboard.
Oh, yeah. The cats work for me. They're not the best employees, and they're very invasive of my space, but they do a good job.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Gerald Solomon, the founder, executive director of NASEF. Claire, would you like me to take a few minutes and just summarize NASEF, and then the guys could take over and do the show?
Sounds good.
Sure. So NASEF, North America Scholastic Esports Federation, we're about a 3.5, 4-year-old nonprofit organization that focuses on project-based learning through the lens of esports in a virtual world. And thanks to Eric and Brian, and someone who's missing this time around, Kathy Chow-Isaacs, who will be here next time, a Minecraft master goddess, as we call her. Between all of you, we have created a wonderful opportunity in partnership with Junior Solar Sprint, JSS, and AEOP to give middle school students an opportunity to learn about solar energy, solar power, cars, chassis, batteries, et cetera, Brian and Eric will talk about that in a little bit as we get into Minecraft, in ways to have fun and connect, play, and learning. So we're really excited. We've been doing this now for a couple of years in other Minecraft activities like Rube Goldberg, that some of you may know, and Farmcraft, which are also programs that are going on now for us. So if you really like this, take a look at those things as well. But this is really unique and special, and we're really thrilled to have assembled this great team to move all this forward. So enough said by me, and go for it, guys and gals.
All right, we'll get started. I think we're going to start by reminding everyone, and we talked about this a little bit last time, about the upcoming streams that we still have, but also how to register or where to find information on the event that we're talking about, the Minecraft Junior Solar Sprint. So I've got the website open, and if you just go to nasef.org, and if you're not sure how to spell NASEF, it's right up here, NASEF.org, click on Learning, and all the way down on the list, you will see Junior Solar Sprint Minecraft Contest. Click there, and you will find the page. We went over this a little bit in our last video, but you'll find links to register your team, a team guide, an educator guide, a kind of helpful guide on using Minecraft Education Edition if you've never used it before. And again, a reminder that when you register your students, there will be a little box to click so that if you don't have licenses for your students, you will get licenses for your students to use free of charge, courtesy of NASEF. And of course, to follow the Twitch and YouTube channels to follow all the upcoming live streams. And we are right now on live stream 2, today being the 8th. We've got another one coming up on the 15th, and so on. So our next one will be on the 15th.
Can I add to that, Eric, if I may?
Absolutely.
For those of you who may be doing it through school or you missed the live stream, it's all there to basically re-show whenever you want. Make believe it's live, even though it's recorded, and take advantage of it. And especially in the middle school and out of school time programs, it's a great way when you want to revisit the great live stream work that Eric and Brian and Kathy and Ipstechia have done. So just because you miss a live stream doesn't mean you miss it. You could actually go back, revisit it, and use it and replay it as often as you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You don't have to miss anything. We are missing Kathy right now.
Yes.
But you don't have to miss anything.
I noticed it's on this page too. Like the last video is on this page. Just to scroll a little bit down. So
Yep, there we go.
So that'd be great if all the videos are dropped right in this page. One-stop shop.
Yeah,
That's what
we
we've
will
got.
do that.
So
Absolutely.
awesome. So yep, that's where you can find all that information, all the helpful guides. And of course, in the Educator's Guide, we've got additional challenges that you can assign to students as activities in the classroom, center activities, or even just challenges to kind of present to the students to show both their Minecraft and their knowledge around the content of the Junior Solar Sprint Challenge, whether that is modeling circuitry, designing an experiment, or many others that we've got there. We've got 4 challenges in total that range from relatively beginner to somewhat advanced. So you can also provide those to the students and see what challenges they want to take on. But speaking of challenges,
Challenge number 2.
let's get into
All
challenge number
right.
2. So this is where I say that Kathy is probably grateful that she's not here today. As we were test playing this and beta testing everything and going through it, we got to challenge number 2 and I became obsessed.
Mhm.
Like they couldn't drag me away from it. We still had 2 more challenges to work on and test, and we were even had a reason to be there to help redesign some stuff. And like, no,
Yeah.
I want to play challenge number 2 a lot.
He threw a tantrum in the supermarket. Basically, we had to like cut this shopping trip short and take him to the car and go home.
I don't
because
want to go.
he was obsessed.
Buy me Go-Gurt, Mom. I'm sorry. No, all right. So we left off. We had done the solar panel challenge last time. And this is where we left off. We were right here still in this challenge. And we got a score of 12. I actually still don't know if that's a good score or a bad score. The good news is we could keep experimenting and testing it and coming up with different strategies to see if we could do better or worse. But we're going to leave our score at 12 for now and move on to challenge number 2.
And that's a good point, Eric, if I may.
Yeah.
And that is that you don't have just one shot at this. You can go through this as often as you want to experiment and try and learn and come up with the best test scores that you think work best for you. So it's fail, first attempt in learning, and keep on doing whatever you want to do until you get to the point where you're satisfied.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't be a show if we didn't say the magic word.
Iterate.
Iterate. There we go. Right. We're going to iterate.
Eric,
Iterate.
All
talk
right.
to this NPC now. The NPC has been updated to now tell you that you're done with this workshop, and you
we
can check your
are.
score.
I like that. So let's see what we've done.
Ooh.
We got tier 1. So we did,
It's the
if I'm not
lowest
mistaken,
tier.
right. Tier 4 is our highest possible
Yeah.
tier, the best we
Yep.
could perform.
Yeah.
Tier 1 is the lowest we could do. So
Yeah.
we didn't do too spectacular in the solar panel challenge.
Right.
Now, the
But
good
it was
news
our
is-
first try. You know,
It was
at
our
least we
first
got a
try.
score.
That's
At least we
right.
got a score. We got 12. Like that's better than
You were in tier
our
0, is that what you're saying?
actual first try.
Right. We are in tier non-existent.
I would venture
Um,
to say that most of the kids will do better than the adults anyways.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
No
But a
question
score
in
of
my
0
mind.
as a first try is like is totally normal.
Yeah.
And that's
And
great
there's
go.
definitely, in our next challenge that we're headed to, one of the things I love about it is there's absolutely a way to like not just do poorly, but fail, like epic fail. And I actually kind of love that. Like, right? Like I like when it's
you
like,
guys are so mean. There's like everybody wants me to like make them pay. It's good
That's
learning.
it is good learning. I like a good,
very-
solid, epic fail moment,
So
right?
we
Because
do
then we
that.
go, what happened? Let's analyze what happened and
you
go
get
back.
the clean sweep in the next one. So we'll have to
That's
show
right.
how that works.
We will. All right. So we've
Look at this
accomplished
parking, though.
a score, albeit not a spectacular one, in our solar panel challenge, but we've got something on the board, and that's good
Mhm.
news. The kids are going to be really proud when they outdo like the developer of the game.
Right.
But
We
we're
wanna
going to hop back
know.
on our scooters,
Yeah, look
Um,
at that parking.
which
though, huh?
this is the part Kathy is going to be sad not to be here. I know we did an impeccable job parking, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember whose scooter was whose though,
This
so I'm
was
going to take.
I
this
took
one.
Kathy's.
You took Kathy's scooter.
Hers
How
got
dare
low
you.
miles. She only uses it on Sundays to pick up groceries. So
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And we're going to head to challenge 2. We'll park our scooters, cleanly. I wonder if the kids will like take this on and be like, "Yeah, no, you have to. We watched the video. You have to park
Yes,
properly."
get in your spot, man.
Nice job, guys.
Don't run
Thank
into the
you.
walls.
Wow.
Nailed it, right? Man, look at that.
Great. Yeah.
We passed
Oh.
our Minecraft driving test. for our 49cc motor scooters.
Yeah.
All right. And we're at our next workshop. This is workshop 2. And again, anytime you're not sure, big old numbers on the top of the building. So this is number 2. Now, do they have to do them in order?
No.
Don't have to do it in order. I know the last part, they have to have completed all 4 workshops before they go on to that last phase, but they don't have to do 1 through 4 in any particular order. And in fact, could we, if we did really well, let's say in workshop 2, say, you know what, we got to get our workshop 1 score up. Let's go back and do that one again.
Yes.
There you go. So there's no order. There's no reason. You can go back at any time.
Okay.
Your scores get locked permanently when you build your car. So you can only build your car when all 4 are done. And then when you say build the car, at that point, all of your workshop work is done because you've invested in, constructing the vehicle. It doesn't stop you from starting up a new world and trying again. But this particular world will kind of be locked into your vehicle when you decide to build it.
So it's once you decide to build the car. So you could do all 4. And then, like Eric said, look at the score from the first one, because you just said you're tier 1 and you're thinking you probably could do better than that.
Yep.
So you could go back and redo one, even though you've already done all 4, as long as you haven't started construction of the vehicle.
Exactly.
That's it.
Perfect.
That's a strat.
Love it. That's a good strat.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk. Let's meet our greeter at the motor workshop. So this is our motor workshop, and you have not started this workshop yet. Would you like to enter? We're going to go ahead and say yes. We might as well go in. What are we here for? Welcome to the motor workshop. Go inside and learn how motors and gears use power from solar panels to move your vehicle. Complete the challenge inside to build the motor for your vehicle. Your score will determine how well your motor moves the vehicle using the power from your solar panels. You can try multiple times for the best score, which is what we were just talking about, that iterate. And we're going to give it a shot. All right, so let's close that dialogue.
Eric, can you real quick just show again the immersive reader there in case?
Oh yeah, sure. So
last time around.
Yeah, so if we pop back into and talk to our little character here again, our NPC, right here is our immersive reader button. So if for any reason you need assistance in reading, be it that, or your students need assistance in reading, be it that English is not their first language, or they are struggling readers, or perhaps they are on the spectrum somewhere, and certain visual cues such as color or focus may be a factor, the immersive reader can be great. And right now it's taken a little bit to load, which does happen sometimes. Last time it popped like right up.
Yeah.
Gonna give it a few more seconds. Maybe an issue on the Microsoft server side. That would be our luck, right?
Never the developer's issue.
No, definitely not.
not.
Certainly not in this case. But I'm gonna cancel.
As long as you know where it is.
One more time. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, see it popped right up that time. Just needed to do it again. All right. So what's great about this is, and I know I'm not sharing audio. I could hit play and we get text to speech. So if I need to if I'm one of those students who needs to listen while I read, or maybe I'm visually impaired and hearing it is better than seeing it, I can do that. I can also, of course, come up here. Oh yeah, see, oops, something went wrong. There seems to be maybe a server side little issue there. It's back now. I can change the font. I can change the size of the text to make it easier to read if necessary. What I was talking about with the color palette, we know that students on various parts of the spectrum, certain colors appeal to them. Others are more challenging for them to read or can be distracting. So those are options as well. Additionally, if we are English language learners, which again, many of our young students are, or even if we're just learning our grammatical parts of speech, we can turn on the labels for those. So we can identify our nouns, our verbs, and so on, and we can even label them as nouns and verbs and so on. So if we're doing some lessons that require that, we can always utilize that. We can even break things down by syllable. Again, really great for those students who are working on pronunciation or English language learners. And then, of course, we've got things like line focus. So we can read line by line, or even 3 lines at a time. There's the picture dictionary, which we have on right now. We'll turn line focus off.
Oh, I'm getting a lesson here, Eric. Jeepers.
Yeah, this is right. So we can click on the word vehicle, and we can click to listen to the word vehicle. We can see examples of vehicle.
Wow.
Right. The word best, for example, it gives some visual kind of clues as to what best means.
Wow.
And if there was actually a term in here that was Minecraft specific, and this is really great about Immersive Reader, if you're in the Minecraft Education Edition and there's a term that's Minecraft specific, it will give you the Minecraft example of that word, right? We don't have anything necessarily in this paragraph here that is Minecraft specific, but that's what it would do.
That's cool.
And then, of course, we've got our translate. So if we've got English language learners where English is not a first language, or maybe the opposite, you are learning a second language at school or taking language classes and you want to challenge yourself because content language is always a little bit different. That's something I learned. I grew up in a home where English wasn't the only language spoken. And while I can understand people who, let's say, speak German, if you asked me to basically listen in on a science lecture in German, I would have no idea what some of those kind of terminologies were. So it's a great way to kind of immerse yourself in that. So for example, if we went to Germany, in German rather, and they even break it down by region of some of these languages. And let's say we translate the whole document. Not only will we get the whole document in German, but when we listen to the play button, it would be read in German out loud as well. And the last thing is right down here, you'll see this little settings for the voice settings. We can change the speed at which it is read and a voice selection as well. So this tool is amazing. I love it using it in the classroom. And then once you've got that set up, you can literally switch back and forth like on a whim.
Motorin Werkstatt.
That is correct. That wasn't bad. That was not bad pronunciation.
I kind of like it in German. Maybe we should do a little German.
That's right.
Too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not fluent. I wouldn't call myself fluent, especially since, I'm not immersed in it anymore like I was when I was younger. But I can at least usually follow along or pick up on, keywords, things like that. So Immersive Reader has helped me in that context as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
nice.
I love the Immersive Reader. All right, we're ready to head inside to our next challenge. And I got to say, Brian, this looks a little different than it did when we were beta testing.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, yeah. We've,
All right, so we've got a board. It says, visit, is it Kira to rhyme with gear or Kyra to learn how motors and gearboxes convert electricity into movement, improve the motors and gearboxes in a solar vehicle, improving can generate more movement with less energy, research various types of motors and gears used in electrical vehicles, and complete the challenge to build the motor and gears for your vehicle. So here is our NPC we need to talk to. A motor needs to convert electricity into motion. Since solar panels are large and can only produce a limited amount of electricity, an efficient motor is important. The gearbox connects the motor to the vehicle wheels. Gears are like a transmission on a car. Well, yeah, literally, actually. They help move the vehicle with minimal effort from the motor and can help maintain faster speeds more efficiently. Complete the Redstone challenge here to build the best possible motor for your vehicle. Now, I want to do this since I was just talking about it. I'm going to go back into the most Immersive Reader because Redstone is a Minecraft-specific term, and there you go. So we go in there and we say, what is Redstone? It actually does have definitions for those Minecraft terms built right in.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and we see examples of the two or some types of redstone. And of course, we can listen to it both in English and German, which is still redstone, apparently.
Good thing it doesn't give the solution away. Whew, this Immersive Reader, thankfully, it stopped giving all the answers to everybody. It knows a lot. Yeah, seriously. What is the answer to this challenge?
That's right.
So just to talk about the solar vehicle portion of this and the competition. So we designed this competition to be a Minecraft competition. So we wanted to leverage like your Minecraft skill and interest and create a challenge that allows you to do these exercises and to think and work as a team and to iterate and to problem solve, planning, communication. All these great things are built into this Minecraft challenge, but it's also in the context of this motor workshop. So we didn't bury the all of the like the motor details and like labeling all motor parts and stuff like that into the challenge, but that's part of what your responsibility is to research. And so for me, I think the interesting thing about a solar vehicle and the dilemma of solar vehicles is solar panels the amount of electricity they can produce. Like you would have to have a huge amount. Like you wouldn't be able to drive on the road for the amount of solar panels that you would need to just power a car anywhere you want it to go. So now you have space, and so your solar panels are important because how effective they are. Like if you had the Tony Stark a solar panel and it was a 12-inch dish that could harness the sun and turn it into any amount of electricity, that would be amazing. So maybe like that's your goal to shoot for in the future, like you want to create that. But in the meantime, we have something that would be way too big and unmanageable, and so that becomes heavy. It doesn't produce a lot of electricity for us to use. And so now, like, how do we improve the situation? So one of the ways to improve it is to have a motor that operates really efficiently. Take every bit of that energy that is generated and use it to make the motor go. But then also the gears. If the motor has to strain too much, it's going to draw current, not going to move. It's not going to be able to go. So the gearbox is kind of important. We want you to kind of learn that, understand that, and kind of really just grasp the overall challenge of a solar vehicle. And that's the cool thing about the Junior Solar Sprint, like the physical version of it, is you get to build a vehicle and actually see it happen in the real world. But in this case, you're really researching it and understanding the challenge of a solar vehicle, but you get to do Minecraft challenges to prove yourself. So let's see what we got here.
All right, so I opened up the rule book that you've kind of put in each of these, which again we talked about, we loved because it makes it kind of like the game guide for a like tabletop game, like a board game. By the way, I want to point out the Immersive Reader button is right down here still, so it's everywhere that you're going to find text. In fact, even and actually I'll do this real quick. Even the board, right? I don't see an Immersive Reader, but there's text on that. If I look at it and I press I on my keyboard, I can even pull up the board. So love that. Yep. We're going to go back to the book. I know I'm all about the Immersive Reader today. So we've got the guide. The other thing I would point out, by the way, is whenever you're looking at these books that are in here, you'll see the export button is down here. This can actually be exported as a PDF. So if you're the kind of class or student or team or teacher that needs to have those kind of printed and handy while you're working, you can print them. Just hit that export button, you'll get a PDF, and then you can print that and have it handy. Or even put it into your learning management system, for example. If you're a teacher like me, you can put it right in the learning management system and have it accessible to the students whenever they need it. Love that too. So here is where we've got our rules. The goal of this challenge is to send 400 redstone pulses to each of the 8 repeaters as quickly as possible without overheating the motor. And again, there's a lot of Minecraft lingo in there. The clock will start counting when you start the challenge. When the challenge starts, you will be locked inside the motor room and placed into creative mode. You may use items from your inventory or access the redstone items from the chest. You must build a redstone circuit that sends 400 pulses to each repeater. If your redstone is this I love too. If it's too fast, right? So kids might say, oh, I know how to make a really, really fast redstone clock or get these pulses sent out really quickly. I'm just going to maximize it, crank it out. Doesn't work. We'll see that in a little bit. There's a problem there. Your motor will overheat. So you'll start to overheat the motor. If the motor is overheated for a total of 30 seconds, the sprinklers will flood the room. Try to get all repeaters to 400 at the same time. Any excess count will count against your score.
That is so clever
because is a factor.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, well, is 400 it? Can't they get more? But you're right. That's not the way the real world works. So
yeah, well, and it's kind of like our play on the gear efficiency. So like if you're not, getting your motor to operate properly in the right sequence, then that's kind of like your gearbox not being efficient enough. So it's a little play on the two.
Gotcha.
So I love that you included these pages, like some descriptions of like what a redstone clock is, right? Because that's a term I say all the time. And there's multiple different types of redstone clocks, but essentially, right, it's a loop that delivers a repeated or steady or intervaled pulse repeated over and over and over again. It's like a loop in computer science, right? It just repeats. It's a forever loop, if you will. And so that's what it does, and it just sends a pulse over. So obviously knowing how to build that and there's simple versions of it, and there's more complicated versions of it that I've seen, depending on how you want those pulses to go out. But again, if you're not sure, like, how do I do that? One, watch the video, because we're going to do a basic one right now in a little while. But also Google it. If you Google Redstone Clocks, that's how I learned how to make half the ones I know how to do. Right? Google is your friend sometimes.
Google and YouTube are great.
YouTube is a big friend for Redstone Clocks. It really is. That's where I've learned half this stuff. And sometimes, of course, you learn just by trial and error and testing things out. And sometimes you arrange things and you go, oh, that's just blinking like crazy. Why is it doing that? And then you figure it out. And then, of course, some information on overheating, which was mentioned. And then, of course, the score and how we get our score. So that is great. So we know what we have to do.
So the important thing about the overheating is that it doesn't cool down. Like your overheating is a 30-second total over the duration. So as you push your overheat meter, it stays where it is. And
so if I slow down my pulses, if I slow down my motor, that doesn't decrease the overheating. It's the overheat total.
Right. It'll stop growing, but it won't go backwards.
So it's almost like, how much damage am I doing to the motor in the process of overclocking it, if you will.
Exactly.
So what we have to do is get all of the contacts to pulse. So, right, there's one here, there's one here, one there, one there, one there, one there,
Easy to
and
find.
one there.
Yep.
So there are 8.
All the way around.
All the way around here, 2 on each side. And right now we're in here. We're not locked in because we haven't started, but you can actually go in beforehand and take a look around and kind of plan out what you might want to do. The materials chest, though, is not there yet. And if you put materials in your inventory before the challenge starts, it'll actually wipe them out.
Well, you won't. You're in creative because you're a hacker, but
I know.
no one's going to be in creative beforehand. So,
So I have a question for you, Eric, if I could. Yeah. When we did the first challenge, we realized afterwards how we could have better positioned our colleagues and our team. As you look at this, is there any clue that you want to share, if at all, about okay, so if you have a team of 2 or 4 or whatever, think about how you allocate out people to make this happen?
So I kind of think there's like 3 or 4 things that we have to consider. One is, and I want to make sure I'm not mistaken on this, that the challenge starts the second we basically hit go on the PC, which means the time is ticking even before we have anything built.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we're building quickly and getting things up and running as fast as possible, which the more people we have and those people know what their role is, the better. So planning obviously seems like a big factor. 2 is, and this is from my experience testing this, we want to come at this sort of with like both the engineering design process and a scientific method sort of in mind. And we can't do that unless we are recording what we're doing. So what I would always recommend to students is to draw out or write down what your plan is beforehand. Because if you do it and it messes up, you don't want to do it again and forget that you already did it. Or do the same thing thinking you changed something and you didn't. A really great way to do that, of course, is to count this out, like the grid, and say, okay, how many spaces do we have? And Brian, I don't know if you know off the top of your head. If not, I'm going to do some counting.
I don't.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's 14 by 14. So what I usually do is, okay, 14 by 14, we could draw that out, or just have graph paper, right? If you've got gridded graph paper, you could literally mark off a 14 by 14 box and say, we're going to put redstone in this box. We're going to put a repeater in this box facing this way, and so on, and mark everything out and try different patterns. And you'll see what we mean as we get started.
Yeah. What a great exercise.
So I think, though, maybe when we first start, our first run through is probably going to be a nightmare because we're going to have to explain some things as we go. So we're certainly not going to go quickly.
I want to see you flood the building. That's what I want to be honest.
Well, my first thought was, let's do everything wrong first. Right? Let's see how far we can push things, like immediately.
Okay.
All right. You want to give us the go?
I'll let you start it.
Okay. So I'll go over to the PC and we'll talk to the PC. And it says some motors spin by having an electromagnetic pulse. Spin quickly in a circular pattern. In this challenge, you must build a redstone circuit that will send 400 pulses to each motor contact blocks around the perimeter. The goal is to build a circuit that completes the task as quickly as possible without overheating the motor. All right, so we're going to start Oh, we got teleported inside the motor. The motor is now closed, and I notice time is ticking. Now it's ticking up. Last time it was ticking down. We had a limited amount of time. So we basically have unlimited time, but the lower we keep that number, the better? Or is there like a cap where like, okay, you've been at it for 10 minutes, give it a rest?
Yeah, no, it's you have the PC in the room, so that's kind of like your give up.
That's I escape. I give up. I surrender
that's
to the challenge.
Surrender. Yeah, so we put that in there as your surrender.
If I wanted to leave, I can't do so. It looks like there are some border blocks or barrier blocks there in place now. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're in creative mode, we don't want you messing around with the other areas.
That makes sense.
And, as a general rule, like I know people that compete in these things like to operate within the confines of the rules, but really there's no, you should be expected to stay in adventure mode outside of this space and not try to hack your way out in creative mode to go do stuff elsewhere.
Right. So these are the materials that have been provided. Some redstone dust, redstone repeater, a redstone torch, a block of redstone, a lever, an oak button, and a weighted pressure plate.
These were there just as
some of these
an
are kind of
some of the redstone things. Not necessarily you have to use them. Plus, you have access to your creative inventory, so you can get anything you want. But we thought, let's just throw some little helpers in there to get them faster.
And I feel like some of those are maybe a misdirect, because I think about how they would work in a redstone clock, and while they would work, maybe not so well, or maybe there are things you would need to make them work better. So Correct. Interesting. So it's going to test some of that knowledge and some of that research you do. Now there possibly are some students who are watching who have no idea what redstone is, because maybe this is, or teachers, Minecraft is relatively new to them. So I actually want to go into inventory and grab a redstone lamp as well. Did you just put one down before I could even do it? All right, that's fine. Because that way we can kind of show what redstone does. So redstone, and this is the redstone dust that I'm laying down, basically is like the circuitry of Minecraft, right? So we can create this line that goes to here, and then we can put one of the things that activates redstone, be it a lever, a button, a pressure plate, and there are other things like the redstone torch, for example, will keep it activated. The redstone lever toggles, right? So it has an on position and an off position. And then the button sends a pulse that lasts a duration of time and then quits. The pressure plate, and this one is a weighted pressure plate, so you've thrown a fastball at them here. You'll notice this one, the signal isn't going very far. It's only lighting up kind of right till here, because, of course, it depends on what we put on it. We could try other pressure plates, of course. But basically, that's it. It's something that sends the signal and something that receives the signal. So in this case, things like levers, buttons, and pressure plates send a signal, and things like the redstone lamp here receive a signal and then turn on or turn off. So you've made a longer chain of redstone here. And that one goes all the way around this way and to this lamp. So go ahead and turn that one on. I'll watch from this side. Where are you? Oh, there you are. And if you turn that one on, notice the signal only goes a certain distance, right? It's not making it to the lamp. And that's because there's a signal strength, right? And what is the standard signal strength for something like the lever? Is it 15, I believe?
Yeah, it's like 16 total.
Yeah. 16, yeah.
In electronics, there's a thing called resistance. So, and that's, measured in ohms. And basically, over time, your signal will decrease because of just the resistance of traveling across the wire. So it's cool that redstone sort of mimics that concept. And so we're losing power as we're going over the length of the redstone. And so Eric's going to show you how to fix that.
So I'm going to basically come right here to where the end of the signal is, which is right here. And I'm going to break that right there. Now we're still getting signal to here. This next item in the inventory is the Redstone Repeater. And the Redstone Repeater is one of my favorite redstone items in the game because it does lots of really incredible things. And some things that are really essential to make circuitry in your game work. So we're going to place that down. And notice that what it does is it boosts the signal and essentially starts it over. So as that signal gets to here, and this is like 14 blocks or 15 blocks to get here, It then reboosts the signal and sends it again. And again, if you turn on or off that switch, let's turn that off and then back on, right? Now our redstone is getting there. It wasn't getting there before. So this reboosts the signal and kind of sends it on. But you'll notice there's more that we can do with it, right? Mm-hmm. There's this switch on the side that has positions, right? I can actually toggle that. And what that does is creates a delay. Time in the Minecraft world is measured in something called ticks. And each of those is a delay in a certain number of ticks. I believe it's incremental by 2s. So for example, if I put it in this position and just move it 1, and you turn on the switch, you'll see there was a little bit of a delay as soon as it hit here, and then it continued on. If we maximize that and turn it on, we'll see the signal comes there, it pauses, and then it moves on. And that's really, yeah, even when you turn it off. Actually, let's do that again. So go ahead and turn it off or on. We'll see there's a delay, and then it turns on, and then off. And of course, if we add more of these, and let's crank them all the way up to the maximum delay. All right, go for it. We'll see we get this delay, and then it comes on. And same when we turn it off. When we turn it off, there's the delay, and then it turns off. But
why would one do that?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few reasons. One, of course, is if we want to time different redstone events to happen in a particular order, right? Maybe we want something to happen first, and then a delay, and then something to happen next, and so on, and we can work that into our circuits. Of course, it's to extend the range of our redstone signal, which is something we showed right away. Mm-hmm. And then also, and this is really important, redstone doesn't necessarily travel in one direction, right? So if I make a circle of redstone, well, I guess a square of redstone in Minecraft is more accurate, right? And I put a lever here, and I turn it on, which way is it going to go? Is it going to go around this way, or is it going to go around this way? And the answer is, it's just going to light up the whole thing. It's just going to do both at the same time. There's no direction. But if I add a repeater in here, or repeaters, plural, in here, it will send that signal in one direction as opposed to both directions. So the signal won't go back that way. So for example, even if I put a lever here, notice this is lighting up, but the signal's not going this way. It's stopping it. It won't go in the other direction. Right? So it's going there, and it's going as far as here, and my dog is really excited about this.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. But it won't go back. Right, so it keeps the signal from going in the opposite direction, which is really helpful in some situations, and it'll be really helpful for this challenge.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's clear everything off and talk redstone clocks, I guess.
Yeah, that's right, your
redstone
crash course to now the redstone clocks.
Right. So a redstone clock isn't a clock per se. We're not using it to tell time. But we are using it to send incremental signals, which is what a clock does, right? It's doing something incrementally. And we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to start the same way I was building that circle over here. We're going to build a circle essentially right in the middle. And I figure an easy way to do this is to use kind of where these repeaters are, our contacts, as kind of the baselines. And I'm just doing that because it'll keep things nice and centered. And it's not necessary, certainly. But it's going to give us, I stepped on that chest and all my redstone went wonky. Keep things kind of basic. And again, as I mentioned, if I turn on a switch over here, there's no direction, right? Mm-hmm. It just lit up in that direction, it lit up in that direction, and the whole thing is just staying on. So it's not sending a pulse. It's just, or pulse is, I should say. It's sending one infinite pulse. So if we were to connect this to those contacts, we would get a score of literally 1. Right, which Brian is actually doing right now.
And you can see the score is counted.
Right, and we can see the score on the right there. All we're getting is a single pulse. Not very exciting at all. In fact, I'm going to move this so we can do the other redstone here. Right, so we've got this really simple grid. Actually, it's pretty clean looking.
Yeah, it looks real nice.
But again, if I put that lever here and I turn it on, right now we're at 2 for some of them, and the ones that we just connected are at 0. And apparently we have some that are not getting signal at all because it's just not reaching. Right, and that's something we talked about. It's not even reaching these over here because we've got the lever way over here.
Yeah.
So that's no good. But there are things we could do. So for example, the button we said sends a single pulse. So I could put a button here, and maybe I could put a button here, and maybe Brian and I could just mash these buttons.
Yeah, let's go.
Right? And we could sit here and notice that there's a delay. So we've got 2, 4. We could sit here all day and mash these buttons to send a pulse and send a pulse, but we would be here for a long time to get 400.
Yep.
But if I didn't know what I was doing, this is a solution. I would definitely get a score out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Not great. So let's break those buttons. By button, by button. So let's put some repeaters in our loop, right? Because one, they'll keep the signal flowing in the same direction. And we can add delays, which means as it gets to each repeater, it'll get a delay. And then it'll go to the next repeater. Delay. Go to the next. And it'll continue to do that infinitely, like a circle. But that means that it'll keep pulsing around and around and around and around and around. So I'm going to put a repeater here. Now, here's the tricky part. They have to be facing the right way. So what I like to do is I actually like to walk backwards along my path. Some people like to walk forwards and say, okay, so I put one there. So I'm going to turn this way because the direction you're facing determines the orientation of the repeater, right? If I face that way, it faces that way. If I face that way, it faces that way, and so on. So I want to make sure I'm always keeping things in the same direction. And we'll put one like here. Okay, so now we've got 4 in our loop. I say, for argument's sake, just to see how this works, we crank them all up to max. So I do that by right-clicking, and you can see they've got 4 positions, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the farther they are away, the longer the delay. So that's going to be the longest delay. We've set them all to max delay. Now we want to send 1 pulse. We could do that very easily with a button. We could just put a button anywhere in this chain. Like we could put it right here. Oop, that's breaking the floor.
Oh boy, you're in trouble.
There we go. I fixed it. Dad. Don't worry.
I'm telling.
As long as we fix it before the parents get home, we're good.
That's true. There's no Control Z.
And I can push the button. But as you noticed before, and we can do it right now, actually.
Go for it.
The button has a set amount of time that it sends a pulse for. And because it stays on for a certain amount of time, it caused everything to light up, and now everything is staying lit up. It's like an infinite stuck on position.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
the
you
button
only
is
got
not
1 point.
Right. And that's why I said when Brian said, oh, we put some stuff in the chest, you could do this with a button. We just showed how. Maybe not ideal. So I'm actually going to break this to get everything to turn off and reconnect our circuit again and keep it in the off position. There are 2 ways to send a faster pulse. Actually, there's more than 2 ways, but 2 ways that I generally use. One is with the Redstone Block, and you got to be fast with this one. Redstone Block activates basically, or the torch actually you could do too. Let's do the torch. The torch basically is always on, so anything it connects to is going to stay on. In this case, it's going to provide power to anything around it. The Redstone Block does something similar. But what we would have to do is place it, and then immediately, as fast as we could, break it. The faster we can do that, the shorter and quicker that pulse will be. So if I drop it and break it, see, now I've got a pulse where this is infinitely cycling around and around. Each of those contacts is getting a pulse as it comes around, and we can see our numbers are just going up. I don't have to do anything anymore. I can just let it do the work.
We're moving, baby.
We're moving. We're moving slowly, but we're moving.
We're not overheating. That's good.
That's good. I'm going to break it one more time just to show the other way to send a pulse. It's my preferred way is with the lever, because to do it with the redstone lamp or torch, I should say, I had to right click to put it down and then left click to turn it, to break it real fast. So 2 different fingers needed. With the lever, on and off is activated the same way. It's right click. So I can just right click, and I can get a really fast pulse going from that. And I can leave the lever there in case I need to reactivate it at any time. So I prefer the lever. People have preferences. Try things out, see what works.
The lever is clever.
Lever is clever. We want to speed things up. So let's speed things up.
Okay.
There's a couple ways we can speed things up, right? So, Brian, how can we speed things up?
We can get rid of some of these slow repeaters and just replace them with redstone.
We could, right? We could use less repeaters because each of these repeaters is causing a delay.
Right.
And if we get rid of a few of them, let's just go down to 2.
Let's tighten up the delay too, so we can.
Yeah, it seemed like it made it about halfway around before it
Okay.
ran out of power.
So if we take away the delay and we only have 2, and we'll turn it off.
Woo, baby!
Now we're cooking with
there you
gas.
go.
Wow, it's
There
like
you
Christmas
go.
time.
But what do you notice about that overheat meter?
We're overheating the motor.
We're going way too
we
fast
are.
now.
Oh, come on, sprinklers.
So let's let this thing. I mean, look, we've been killing
I
time.
guess
Let's
so.
let this thing cook. Let's let it
All
cook.
right.
Let's just
See
see
what
what
we
happens
don't wanna
if we
get to.
overheat.
Yeah.
Oh, but Brian, you said if you stop it, you can't go back down, right? It just stops.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you could stop it, and then as long as you.
Overheated. We have flooded the whole room with water. We are swimming right now. And our area is blank. And the game has ended. So there's an epic fail moment there. There's no, hey, let's fix that.
Right.
We can't fix it. We got to start
You're
again.
welcome. You're welcome.
Wow.
So if as if it was while it was overheating, Eric,
Mhm.
if you saw that and you wanted to stop that, what would be some of the options?
We can do
So
that on the
that's-
next build. Let's
do that on the next one.
Mhm.
That's
Because
good.
overclocking is a thing if you manage it properly in this case. So
That's right. So let's grab a bit of everything. Actually, I know I don't need some of these things anymore. So I'm going to stick with what we need and not waste time with materials in my inventory. And let's build our big square again. Now, again, I could build a smaller square and tighten things up a little bit that way. Although it doesn't make a whole lot of difference as long as we're in range of the signal. All right, so we had a repeater here. All right.
Mhm.
And one over here. And again, notice I had to turn my body around so that they're both facing the right way in the loop.
All right.
We'll add a lever. And, oh, I went a little too slow. So let's break that.
yep,
Let's do a faster pulse. There we go.
nice. So
So we
now we'll break
are
it
overheating.
before- Yeah, we're overheating, but we're leveraging this opportunity to overclock to try to get as many out of the way as possible, and hopefully we don't overheat it again if we could stop it just in time. When do you
So
wanna
that's the
stop?
key, is to get as close as you can.
So maybe when there's one green dot left, we turn it off. Okay. So let's break the signal. Let's put that back.
That's a good thing you
How do we
keep it
want to
active.
slow things down now? We're going to turn
I
these
don't
maybe to
know.
3.
Right?
Let's try 2.
Want to try
I'm
2?
not-
What if we're going too fast? Let's
I
do this
don't
all
know.
over
Fine
again.
with me, no.
Yeah, then we're in trouble.
Okay, we'll try 2.
If,
All right,
if
we'll
I
put
see
down
the
a
last
lever.
thing,
And we're going to send a pulse. I don't think we're overheating anymore.
that feels safe.
Yeah, that green dot would have turned red by now.
Yeah.
All right,
Feels
so
like
we can
maybe
let
we should have
this.
stopped a little sooner. Because
Maybe.
you're right on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as we're not overheating it right now, it'll never get there.
Okay.
Yep.
It'll stay where it is. It's never going to go down again. But
Right.
we're not going to push it any further.
Right.
This is where the trial and error comes in. We're not going to
Mhm.
tell you where the overheat line is because we thought this would be a better thing for the group to figure out, like, okay, let's try this. Now let's try this. Now let's try this. Let's find out how can we maximize without overheating. And also, how could we maximize with overheating? So how do we get the most amount of ticks in while we're overheating and then stop it? And then how do we get the most efficient quickly now because the time is running? So we have to switch then to the mode where we're getting as many ticks without overheating any further. And so you could decide to overheat towards the end. You could decide to overheat first and then run it after. So there's a lot of trial and error and iteration and experimentation and coming up with your own hypothesis and testing it and observing and fixing.
Yeah, the other thing I would say is when we enter the motor room here, we get put in creative mode, which means we can fly. And one of the things I'd probably suggest to the students is while we're testing this or observing our outcomes, I can actually hover overhead. And this is a great and much easier way to kind of, if I was using that graph paper to draw my schematic right from this view, as long as I always kind of positioned my back in the same place. So maybe I want to put my back over here, with the door over there in front of me and say, okay, this is what we're going to try and do. or even draw out the patterns we want to use or where the repeaters should be. So again, because one of the things that's going to save you time, one of the things that's going to get you a high score is getting in here and getting it all built and set up quickly because the clock is already ticking.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Communication.
Remind me the time limit again.
There is none.
There isn't one.
So
it's how fast can you get to 400?
How fast can you get to 400? Okay.
But also, and you'll notice on our contacts right now, they're all pretty similar, although they're not ticking perfectly in sync. 2 of them or 4 of them are ticking about 1 tick faster than the other ones. Anything we have over 400 for any of those contacts is a penalty.
Oh, right.
So if one of them got to 400, or if the last one, let's say, gets to 400,
so how do you stop this?
The first one was at 450.
Ding.
Oh no, we nailed it.
Oh,
we
nailed it. Oh, wow.
Clean.
Nice.
We got the gearbox going on.
And for the record, having that help of Brian there, like I was playing with this earlier today. Like I beat you, helped me crush the time I made earlier today. So having hands on deck to build, set up, and run it is ideal. Keep in mind also, like I messed up the one time and didn't set a fast enough pulse. That took time off the clock. It may have added ticks to some of the contacts that I didn't want. So, like when we say clean, you want that clean run, right? Like if we make any mistakes, it's going to reflect in that score. And even if we get tier 4, if somebody gets a slightly higher score, meaning their time was a few seconds lower, their car's going to run just a little bit better.
We may have given away too much on this one. Maybe what we have to do is cut this part out, and only the people that were here for the live stream get to see the actual the trick.
We did really well on that one.
You did, yeah.
Well,
can we go talk to the person outside and find out?
Yes.
All right, we'll go outside. Now, keep in mind, we did horrible in the first one, so we gave away nothing on that one.
Right.
Let's check our scores. No, we were only tier 3.
Yeah.
We were only tier 3. So there's a way to do it better.
Room for improvement.
We may have pushed our overheat a little further. We could have come in, built, and got things running quicker without any mistakes. Yeah,
we had 1 green dot left in our overheat. We could have worked faster. We could have
played with the number of repeaters.
Well, maybe there's room. Maybe there's room in what we did after we overheated. Maybe there's room in there. Some different repeater orientations. So Gerald, you were saying the penalty.
Yeah. So it said penalty when you were showing the score. Yeah. That would be if you were over 400.
Yeah. If any of your contacts are over 400, basically the accumulation of all of your overage becomes kind of like a negative impact to your score, because that means you're kind of running out of sync. So the thing that from a research standpoint that I would like people to be looking into for this is there's like the traditional brushed motor, which is like the magnet is pushing there's a contact based motor spinning, that's a magnet that's making contact, and so they wear out, they're slow, they take a lot of energy, hard to move, things like that. And then there's a thing called a brushless, which is more digital, whereas there's an electromagnet and a circuit is firing the magnets around, drawing the motor around in a circle. So the outer case has the magnets and is making the rotor spin using circuitry to create electromagnets spinning around. So it's super amazing. And these motors, like if you have an RC vehicle, you get a brushed RC car. So this would be good, like if you're shopping for a birthday gift or something like that. The brushless motors are going to perform way better than the brushed motors if you're shopping for an RC car. They're a lot faster. They accelerate a lot faster. They sound different, and they're fun and dangerous. So be careful. But yes. So anyway, I want you to research. I really
thought we were going to get tier 4 on that one, and we didn't. Now I got to see what these kids pull in.
See, this is him. Somebody grab.
I would be ready to jump back in if there was more time.
You're going to leave the store right now. I'm going to have to take you out.
I already walked. The funny thing is, I walked out.
Eric's going to keep going.
I'm leaving.
You saw me walk out, and then I walked right back in. Like, all right, what can I do differently?
Yeah, that's the great thing. There's going to be a lot of kids like you that will think. So the real question
I
is,
appreciate you saying kids like me, by the way, because clearly still a kid. Yeah,
of course. But yeah, like, so, I mean, the question is, what do you think you could have done better? Like, so you rattled off some of them, but what's cool about it is you'll test that out.
Right.
You'll maybe have to make a better plan to get it done with your team. You might try it by yourself once to see the difference between yourself versus a team. So that's the exciting thing I think about all of these challenges is you can come at them from so many different ways, and that's the joy of solving problems in life. That there's many ways to do it, and there's no answer key for a lot of them, and the answer key is the work you put in.
I am already thinking, like, aside from using that overheat time, the 29 of the 30 seconds to our advantage, how do I know, or how can I figure out exactly where that overheat mark is? And by that, I don't mean the mark at the end of that 30 seconds, but rather how many ticks per second do things actually overheat, and how do I nudge my circuit to just below it so that it's like maximizing without overheating, right? Because we took it down quite a bit so that we wouldn't overheat, because we were nervous about overheating once we got that close.
Right.
Because we don't know exactly where that overheat mark is. Well, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, don't include me in that.
I'm not sure yet. I'd have to experiment to figure out where that exactly is.
Yeah, that's the fun part. We decided consciously not to give those specific details because it allows people to be rewarded for their effort in figuring it out.
I love that.
Yes.
So fun. I can see why, Eric, you were so excited to do this one today.
Yeah. I mean, I know we've got 2 more, but I would be lying if I said this was not the one that hooked me, like, because this one definitely hooked me.
Yeah.
So I mean, you contributed to the next one, so
I did.
So everyone can curse you for that one.
Right.
But so we're streaming again next week, and if you're working on this project, we would love to know. You see our score, 262 with 0 overage. We'd love to hear your score. So please share your scores and your thoughts with us, and we'll share them on the live stream. Send them to, how do we want to send them? You can comment in the YouTube video as one thing.
Perfect.
But yeah, I would love to kind of see if people are already in there taking advantage of their practice.
Yep. And of course, it is not too late to register, not by a long shot. So if you haven't registered yet, if you want the copy of the world file, if you want to get involved in this project and play it for yourself and be like, yeah, we were watching what you're doing and we could clearly do better, which I believe, then head over to nasef.org, click on that learning tab, go down to Junior Solar Sprint Minecraft Contest. And this is where you will have your educator or your adult sponsor register your team and get you involved and get you a copy of the world file to try it yourself.
Perfect. I don't feel like we said the word free enough today, because that's so important. If you need Minecraft Education Edition, it is free to you, and that is part of the registration process. So make sure as you're going through there, if you need it, let us know, and we will send it right over to you.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, amazing.
Well, thank you both for guiding us through this today.
Yeah.
Super excited for next week's adventures. And I was trying to think, you did a very good job of parking your scooters, so it'll be neat and ready for us to hop on and go on our new adventure next week.
We have to go move Kathy's over. Actually, she's gonna spawn.
She'll have to do that.
When she comes back, she'll spawn where she was. She'll have to drive it over to meet us at 3.
To driving it a little extra.
She'll love the extra.
No, she'll have a little extra time to do so.
Right. Good. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you in a week.
Yep. Thanks
Thanks,
all.
everybody. See ya.